All right. Good day to you once again. So we're back again on our coding journey for beginners using the language called Python. So we want to see how we have been seeing so far how Python has been popularly used among developers, programmers in recent times because of its simplicity, its versatility, its durability, its functionality, and so many on. So today we're going to be dealing much more on loops. We have done a lot of various classes, so now we're going to talk about loop, so that you know how to work with iterations and work with loop in Python. So today is no exception. Today we will just focus more on Python while loop, the Python while loop. So, and Python actually has two primitive loop commands. So we have the while loop. So let's type it out. You have the while loop, and then we have the for loops. So these are the two loops, two primitive loops that Python has. So yeah, so let's first of all deal with the while loop in this video. With the while loop, we can execute a set of statements as long as the condition is true. So that's how you can work with while loop. You can actually do a function of statements as long as the condition is true. So once the condition is met, then a list of statements is being executed till proven false, till the loop is proven false. So we're going to take some examples so that we can properly understand what has been said earlier. So we'll just do a very simple example for now, and then we can take it gradually. The first one, I will say let's I. So you do your declaration, I is equals to what? 1. So I'll say y high, which is 1, is less than 6. So as far 1 is less than 6, let the following statement be done till proven otherwise. So I'll keep on increasing my 1, that my I, at every time the statement is being worked on. So once it checks I1, it checks it, is it less than 6? If yes, to print it out, to add 1 to 1, which was initially, that's 1 here, so that would making it 2. So once it gets to 2, then you check again, why I is what? It's now 2, is less than 6. So I as 2 is less than 6, which is true. So you print this again, then what it adds again to it, so that it should become what? 3. So 2 plus 1 is 3. So now is 3. So to go back again, so that is 3 less than 6? Yes. So if it's yes, then it prints it again, and then it adds again. So now that's 3 plus 1, which is now 4. Then it does it again. So is 4 less than 6? Then yes. Then it prints it again. It prints out 4, and it has to it. That is 4 plus 1, 5. So it does it until it gets to 6. So the moment it gets to 6, it's then what? The moment it gets to 6, the moment it gets to 7, it then what? It then stop doing this statement. So let's run this now. So I would just say run Python on what? So run in Python. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now when you get to 6, so 6 is less than 6, which is not true. If assume you say 6 is less than or equal to 6, then it will still do this statement. But since 6 is not less than 6, so it stops the iteration here. So that's a simple example on the while loop. So I want to do something into consideration. You will note this carefully. Remember to always increment your I, or else the loop will continue forever. So you have an endless loop. You don't want something called infinite loop. So for it to end, for you to have a stop line, you have to had the increment which we did in this place. So it ensures that the I continues, I keep increasing to meet up with this standard, so that it can stop, printing out each of the statements inside of the while loop. Okay, so I'll bring it into an introduction, something called the break statement. With the break statement, you can now stop a loop even if the while loop, the while condition is still true. So how do we mean by this? I'll give you an example now. So see this example, I is equals to 1, I less than 6, print high. So let's say if high, so I want to give a condition for it to stop. So if I is equals 3, what should you do? Break. So this is our break function. So then we now increment it once again here. So break. So once it checks, the moment it keep on moving through this loop, and then it sees that high is now 3, it breaks. It does not continue with this. So what it does is that high now is 1. So 1 less than 6 true, print what? 1. If 1 is equal to 3, which does not meet up the condition, so you won't fulfill the statement. If you come to this side, it will increase again. So that's now 1 plus 1, that's equals 2. So now check again from the beginning. Why 2 is less than 6, right? Print what? 2. So now if 2 is equals 3, which is not true, then it will skip this, then come over here. So that'll be 2 plus 1, which is what? 3. So then it goes back up again. So why 3 is less than 6? Yes, is that true? Yes. Print what? 3. So now if I is equals to 3, which is I is 3 currently in our iteration, so that's 3 is equal to 3. So if it sees that, then it breaks, then it doesn't fulfill the statement anymore. So let's see this, run it now. I'll clear what I have currently here. So and then I'll run it now so you can actually see what has happened. So you see 1, 2, 3, then it's what? It breaks. All right. Then another stuff we deal about in the while loop is the continue statement. With the continue statement, you can stop the current iteration and then continue with the next. So you can stop the next iteration, next step that's meant to be executed, then skip it to follow up with the next statement close to that statement that was skipped initially. So we'll take an example so it's not too complicated and everyone can understand what you're doing right here. So I would comment this out so that we can do a new one. So say I is equals to what? 0. So that y high is what? Less than 6. Okay, what does it do? High keep adding to what? To I. So now the moment I equals 3, the moment it's meet up with this conditional statement, continue. So the continue, then what? Continue, then print high. So what I'm saying here is that, so I is equal to 0 now. So y 0 is less than 6, which is true. Hard to it so that it becomes what? 1. Then it will print it. So let's run this. Let's see what's happening. So you see, so even though our statement goes to 3, which is what? High is equals to 3, that is 3 is equals to 3, it will continue. So when is it continue? So continue actually now allows it to skip this continue line, then come up with what the next statement close to this continue, then execute it. So that's the reason why it still continue, it didn't break. As we will say here break, then you won't see 1 to 6, you would see 1 to 3 instead. So I'll clear that, then I'll run it again so you can see that. So I'll run it, you see 1, 2, so it stops. So now if I'm going to now turn this back to continue, Ctrl Z, clear what you have currently, you would see that it prints everything to 6. So it shows that the continue allows it to keep on moving, like it allows you to skip the current function, which is continue, and then execute the next statement next to it, the next statement close to it. Right, so that's that for the continue statement. Now we would do something called the else statement. You're using the if statement. So with the else statement, we can run a block of code once when the condition is no longer in use. So when it's no longer in use or is no longer true, then the else statement comes in place, and then begins to execute the codes of line that it contains. So you do this, for example, let's say high is equal to 0, while high is greater than 6. Let's say print high out. So let's increase I. Let me clear it so it doesn't confuse us. I is what? We increase I based on the factor that we are printing I afterwards, and you are fulfilling the conditional statement, the conditional loop statement of y, high is still less than 6. So okay, so now else. So else is working together with the while statement. So the moment it gets to 6 or upward, and this statement is no more functional, we would now move to this next line. So else, what do we do in else statement? So, okay, so I would also put 2 dots in the front. Print high is no longer less than 6. So yep, so I'm trying to find out what's causing the error. So let me run this and let's find out what's wrong. Okay, so the indentation is wrong. It was a little bit out of print, that's why. So so I cleared this now, so it's working fine. So it has to be these are the statement underneath the while loop, so it must be properly indented, even that you have an error message. So I'm going to run the Python right now. So what you have what 1 2 3 4 5. So the moment you get to 6, it stop this. It runs to the else statement, and then it prints the statement in the else statement. So it shows that high is no longer less than 6. Yes. So with this, we have treated all that we have to talk about in the while statement. So with your while statement, you can actually have a condition attached to it, known as the else statement. So else statement comes in place when the condition done in place for the while statement is no longer true. So then the else statement comes in place, and then it gets printed out. So that's for the while loop. See you in the next class. Bye for now.